Now, the new banking bill, which takes away RBI's power to vet banking M&As, is causing a lot of heartburn at Mint Street. Just a day after the bill was passed by Parliament, RBI Deputy Governor K.C. Chakraborty today said that the central bank is obviously uncomfortable with that move.
Chakraborty, who is known to express his views on controversial subjects in public, is however quick to clarify that Parliament is supreme and the RBI will work with the new system. He also says now that the banking bill is passed, the RBI will expedite the process to issue new bank licenses.
We are always uncomfortable, but we have to work in the system. They are also an important part, and ultimately this law is approved by the Parliament. And in a parliamentary democracy, what Parliament says, that is supreme. So I cannot say as an institution, I am uncomfortable with what the Parliament has approved. You see, look, time we cannot say, but the process will be expedited. That much only I can say. But this is the concerned department who does, they will be able to say the time frame. But I don't think it should take much time. Chalo, okay.
Should now be able to get a banking license.
Sir, are they comfortable in giving license to corporates?
I don't know now. Let them first apply. First the guidelines should be over. We don't predict the future, na.
Yeah.
Should
we see the licensing sometimes in the next 6 months or before?
I can't say that. I can't say that. But it may happen. You see that. You see, it is a concern. But if not 6 months, in 1 year it will happen. Then the new bank will come up. It may take another 1 year to set up the bank. But process has started. You see, that's the most important.
So will the bank M&A fall under the CCI purview? Sir?
Yeah, definitely. But you see, look, it is a concerned department has to put. I am not aware, but I feel that it should be done as quickly as possible.
That's a turf war playing out there as far as the banking bill is concerned. Let's take it across straight to banking editor George Cherian for more perspective. George, it's understandable the RBI has reservations with the CCI getting to vet banking M&As, but how are we going to read these comments from Deputy Governor K.C. Chakraborty?
Well, clearly, Sandeep, there is a fair amount of discomfort at the central bank because if you remember, the banking amendment bill in its original form had actually suggested that all M&A activity be kept under the sole purview of the Reserve Bank of India. Now when it's been put forward in Parliament for approval, they've brought the CCI element in, and the thinking within government being that the RBI, because it is the regulatory body, will focus on the prudential aspects of an M&A exercise, and that the CCI will focus on the competitive aspects. Now, that's a fair argument to make for the government, but the point is, in the past, you've had scores of mergers, and that we can go on, just listing out the number of mergers that have happened in the banking space. At that time, there was no CCI involvement, and that time it was called the MRTP. There was no involvement by the monopolies watchdog, and you had banking banking merger exercises go through smoothly. If the thinking within government is that the CCI's presence and CCI's vetting of an M&A proposal protects the interests of depositors and customers, are you trying to suggest that in the past the Reserve Bank of India didn't do that? So you've had instances in the past where there have been mergers. The RBI does not approve mergers unless it's comfortable with the whole idea of the merged entity protecting the interests of the depositors or customers. So the RBI has protected the interests of those people, the affected parties in the past, to bring in another another regulatory body and create a joint approval exercise. Possibly, I would imagine, would clearly delay the process, would create unnecessary regulatory conflict, and typically egos come into play in such exercises. It just makes the process a lot more painstaking, not only for the M&A candidates, but also for the regulatory bodies in place. So whether the CCI coming into to answer it very simply, the CCI coming into this is not at all a good idea. But if the government's thinking is that, then the Reserve Bank of India has no choice but to play along. But overall, the RBI typically ought to have just stuck as being the sole regulatory body involved in M&A clearing.